Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Ange and I do cash stuffing, budgeting, and savings videos. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for following me on this journey to financial freedom. If this is the kind of content that you're interested in, stay tuned and don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button. So for today's video, I wanted to do a get to know me better type of video, and I thought what better way to do that than to do it while organizing this box of money. So in the past few years, I want to say the last 5 years or so, my husband and I have been basically stuffing this box in with every single dollar that we've had. And you will not guess how much is in here because I have no idea how much is in here, but it's like getting to a point where we can't even like fully put our money in and it's getting out of hand. So I thought, since I'm starting off this channel, that we could organize it all together, count it all up, and at the same time you can get to know me a little bit better. So let's open this bad boy up. Here we are. Look at all those dollar bills. So how I want to organize this is, I think I will arrange them in order and then count them, and I'm just going to put them in this wooden box here while I do that. And then at the same time, we can kind of chat about, I guess, myself, maybe about my YouTube journey, why I decided to do YouTube, a little bit about me, because I know when I watch YouTubers, I love getting to know them. I like to know about their family, what brought them on their journey. So let's kind of do that with me here. So why did I start this channel? So like everybody, I love watching YouTube videos, and it's kind of embarrassing how much time I spend watching videos. And it all started many, many years ago. I was at my friend's wedding. I was one of her bridesmaids, and we're basically trying to figure out how we were going to get our makeup done, because we had to do it ourselves and we didn't have a makeup artist do it for us. And we have a particular face and eye shape. So we went onto YouTube and started watching makeup tutorials. So that's kind of how my YouTube watching started off. I was introduced to some of the beauty gurus and kind of fell in love with watching other people share how to do things. And then over the years, I've kind of just watched other people share their lives, share things, get advice or give advice, and watch their journeys evolve through YouTube. And recently, I guess I've always thought it would be great if I could start my own YouTube channel, and I've procrastinated. I guess a lot of people would say that you won't know until you get started. So I decided that this year, since I was starting my financial journey with this envelope system, that it would be a good way to document everything. So that's what started it for me here. And why did I decide that I wanted to do this envelope method? So back in the day, like a couple of years ago, when I used to commute to work, I would listen to the Dave Ramsey podcast all the time. And I would hear all of the stories about people achieving financial freedom and getting out of debt. And some of these people were making like half the amount of money that I was making. And they were able to pay off such large amounts of debt. And he was always talking about an envelope system, and I had no idea what he was talking about, because it's like, why would you want to use cash when you could just use your credit card? You can just swipe and collect points and redeem those points. But there's one saying that Dave Ramsey would always mention, I remember he would say that nobody ever got rich from using credit cards, which I believe is true. And so then during that time, I decided to budget my family's budget on a spreadsheet, and I would see what kind of, not necessarily transactions, but I would see our credit card bills. And I would be like, why are they so high? And I would ask my husband, why is your credit card bill so high? He's like, I don't know. You have access to it. Take a look. It's not like I buy anything substantial or didn't spend it on anything big. And that's exactly what it was. It was that he wasn't spending it on anything substantial. So he would go out for drinks and he would swipe his card. If it's $5, it's $10, no big deal. But all of that really adds up. And that year, I decided to put us on a budget, but I was tracking it through Excel and not through cash, like how I'm doing it right now. And it sort of worked, but it was kind of like pulling teeth. I was like, oh, you're spending on this, and it's very unnecessary. So it wasn't as controlled, but I could totally see where Dave Ramsey was coming from. So I decided that this year was the year to start. And for all the previous years, it's not like we had issues saving money or anything. Like, we always put away certain funds, or we put away certain amount of money in our retirement every year, and we have our savings and we have investments. But the thing is that we didn't know where all of our money was going. And I think that's where the issue is, because at least with this envelope system, we can track and see where each dollar is going. And I guess one of the sayings that Dave Ramsey has is about be intentional with your money. So now we know that every dollar goes somewhere, just like in this box. It has intention for this box to be unstuffed eventually. So if you're wondering where all of these dollars came from, so when me and my husband, we got married shortly after we decided, we were, I guess, accumulating a lot of coins and like loose bills and stuff. So I thought it would be a fun idea to just stuff a box and see how much we could put in, because when I had first met him, he had this gigantic jar. It was almost like a tub of coins. And I had decided one day that I wanted to roll it all up and see how much he had. And he had nearly $1,000 worth in coins. And it was maybe a size of, the jug was maybe a size of those large gallon bottles of water from Costco. And I was like, if you could save $1,000 in that jug just of coins, imagine how much we could save if we just decided to put dollars in there. So this has been like an accumulation of maybe, I want to say 5 or 6 years worth of dollar bills. And I know recently we haven't been going out or using cash all that much, but there's some places where we go and they just, we would like buy a drink or something and we'd like give out $5 bill. And I think when we had first started it, we were saving up our bills purposefully and we weren't even spending them just so we could put in this box. But after a while, we kind of just forgot about it. So here we are, unstuffing it, or yes, organizing all of it. I do not know how long this is going to take. All right, so what else about me? I'm pretty introverted, so I think having this YouTube channel is really outside of my comfort zone. But like I said earlier, I feel like I wouldn't know until I try it. So that's one of the big reasons why I decided, you know what, just go for it and see where it takes you. The worst thing that could happen is you fail and no one would know except for yourself, maybe. Yes. But you could always find success. And in the end, at least, I can see myself documenting myself doing this type of challenge or challenges, savings challenges, stuffing envelopes, and even doing one stuffing, the very first one that I had, I felt satisfaction putting money into an envelope. So I feel like this is something that I could totally do long term. So ultimately, I guess what am I trying to save for? I guess financial freedom is one of the things my husband and I, we always talk about, is we want to retire sooner than, I guess, the expected retirement age. So right now we are in our 30s, and ideally we would like to retire, or at least not have our 9-to-5 job, in our 40s, maybe early 50s. But what we're hoping to do is to get an investment property and maybe branch off and kind of do some things for our own. And we've kind of talked about, like, if we didn't have our 9-to-5 job, like, what would we do? What would we want to do in retirement if we're retired so early? And we love traveling, but our kids are a little bit young, so it's not like we can go anywhere in the world because they still have school. So we would have to wait for them to at least finish school before we have that freedom to take off anywhere in the world. But yeah, so I have 2 little children. I have a boy and a girl. My daughter's the older sibling. Both of them are in daycare, so it helps. In the past year, they were at home, and I want to say homeschool. I kind of told myself that we're lucky that our kids are younger because we didn't have to worry about the whole Zoom conferencing calls and making sure that they're attending their Zoom calls and staying in front of the computer, because our daughter, we tried it when we had taken her out of daycare, and she could not sit in front of the computer for like a minute because we had to sit next to her and all we would see are parents on the screen. It wasn't even, none of their children were focused on these Zoom calls that the teachers had set up. But last year we decided to put them back into school because we needed them to socialize. And they are in a private daycare, so it does help that they're very strict on their regulations for the sickness. So the only unfortunate thing is sometimes there are cases and then our kids would need to get sent home, or their classroom would close, and then they're just at home with us. But luckily, both my husband and I, we work from home, and that also helps with this new venture of filming, because the time that we would normally spend commuting to work, I can save that and film a video or something. With this journey, do I plan on maybe selling items on Etsy, starting up a shop or anything? I'm not sure at this point, because I'm not sure how much extra time I would have aside from filming. But I guess we'll kind of see how everything goes. I mean, maybe nobody's even watching me, so who would I be selling my products to? So I kind of talked a little bit of our long-term goals for retirement and getting a new place. So we do invest our money currently in 401ks. Both of our companies offer a match, and we max it out. And I kind of wish this was something that back when I first started working, there were financial advisors that had come into our workplace to discuss 401k and contributions. And they talked about how we should put as much as we can, at least 10%. And I think it was only like 6 years ago where they're saying if you're not putting in 14%, then you won't have enough money for when you do retire. And at that time, you just started working and you're like, 14% of my income is so much. Like, you'd rather see your money today than see it 50 years down the road. But even the little bit that you contribute, and at the time, the only reason why I had even did a 401k was because my company would match. So I was like, oh, whatever that match was, it's almost like getting a raise. And I would never see that money come in to my paycheck, so I would never know what I'm losing out on. So that's kind of how I thought of it. And then when I actually did view my balance, it's like I would receive extra money. And I'm like, wow. So I have always been a big proponent of investing in your 401k for that reason. Because if you don't see that money, you don't know what you're missing out on. So now that my husband and I are a little bit older, and with the crazy financial market and how inflation has gone up like almost 8% this year, I bet you probably need to be investing like 20% to be able to retire if this continues. But who knows? This is why we just try to prepare. And I think that's one of the reasons why we want to have an investment property, is because at least it's passive income, or somewhat passive income that we're receiving, and homes always build equity. So there's that. And what other things are, so we also dabbled into some other financial investments like stocks and cryptocurrency. So for cryptocurrency, it's something I don't know if anyone's into or interested in, but I would advise with caution because the market is very volatile. But the only thing that I can say is once it is more mainstream, and I say once because I really believe that it is going to be the future, is that it probably won't stabilize until everybody is on board. So with high risk comes high reward, right? So we have a little bit of that. But aside from that, I guess we're really just saving for something more tangible, like a property, or starting other business ventures. All right, I feel like this is going to take an extremely large amount of time. This might work better as a Q&A rather than me Q&Aing myself. So maybe I may just fast forward this portion and have everything set up, and then we can just count it together. Do you guys notice that a lot of these bills have L on it? Oh, here's a J. Most of the ones I'm seeing have L's on it. Does anybody know the reason why? I feel like I should Google that. Something about me that you guys would not know is that if I could spend, or where does my money go normally if I'm not saving it? I like to spend money on handbags. So on luxury handbags, not shoes, not clothes, maybe a little bit of jewelry, but You can see from my hands I don't really wear much jewelry. I really save them for special occasions, but yeah, handbags. So maybe with all this money in this box, I could buy a handbag. That would be pre-2022 me speaking, but we'll see. We'll see how much this box brings us. That's quite heavy. It's very compact too. Imagine how much stuff we had to pay with cash to get all of these ones, considering we are not even cash people. So comment down below. Let me know what you spend your cash on. What do you spend your savings on? I'd like to know. Is there a vice for you?
Two hours later.
Oh, this is it. This took way longer than I had originally anticipated for. Okay, so there it is. Everything is organized. I will not be counting these bills today. This took way too long. But if you want to comment down and see how much you think is in here, I'll film a video and count it all up. I mean, I don't even know how long it's going to take to count it up, but hopefully not as long as it did to organize these. All right. Thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.